Hey there, we're just getting started. Give me a moment to make sure everything's live and we'll begin. There we go. That one's live and there we go. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus. Happy to be back for Wellness Wednesday, where I give you free coaching for the world at large. I can't substitute for medical advice, but I'm here to help in every way I can to help you be healthier, live better, and heal, whether it's emotionally, physically, from the things that have gotten you, so you can have a better life. And wanted to start today with a couple things. I had a topic for the day, but also a congratulations, because I saw someone this week and they asked that I give them a shout out on Wellness Wednesday, and I am definitely going to do that. So, hey, so I have someone who has worked really hard because she has diabetes and really battled addiction to food. And so I have seen her for appointments over time with her mom and made progress, but still was given in to things like chicken wings. And on her last lab test, she saw that she had some damage happening to her kidneys, and she decided, no more. I'm doing the full Goodbye Lupus protocol for my diabetes. I'm doing it. And I just saw them this week. And in 1 week of just eating on plan, the full Goodbye Lupus protocol, just the raw foods on plan, in 1 week, she already had to stop her insulin because her blood sugars have been normal. And she's really proud of herself. Her family's proud of her. I'm proud of you too. Finally, you saw what you needed to do and you did it, and look how quickly it worked. A lot of the reason it worked so quickly too is you've been building up to it, but once you stop cheating on yourself, look how quickly your body has gotten better. So she was taking insulin twice a day, and she had to stop because her sugars are normal. And if she takes the insulin, she'll make herself sick. So I wanted to give you a shout out, and everybody can send her love too. Really, really proud of you. The other thing, so it's kind of cool now. Now, when I have sessions, a lot of times people will say to me, hey, you can talk about me on Wellness Wednesday. I'm like, thank you. I tell stories, of course, from people that I see to help all of you, because I know not everybody can. Not everybody has the ability to see me, even though I have an international wellness practice and I see people on Zoom all day. I just got off the line with someone from Sweden. So cool. But anytime a lesson from somebody that I'm taking care of can make a difference in your life, I'm going to bring that to you. Of course, I don't give away people's names or anything. If you know someone's name, it's because they said, Dr. G, I would like to share my name and my story. But the stories are human stories, and they affect everyone. And so there's someone I've been working with that my heart's really been thinking about a lot this week. And I think her story or her struggle is one that may be able to help a lot of you. And I wanted to bring that to you today. So we have a victory, and then we have a struggle. Are any of you dealing with a situation where you know what to do, you know what to eat, and you're just not doing it, and you can't figure out why you're not motivated? A lot of you dealing with that. If you're on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, maybe you can say something in the comments. But there are folks who struggle with this. And it's one of the biggest reasons I think people join my rapid recovery group. You know, while some people will join just because they're like, there's something I'm not getting right, or I just want to get it right the first time with your help. I'd say the majority of the people who join are the ones who are struggling with their commitment, with getting it right, but sticking to it. Like they pretty much know what to do, but they can't stick to it. There are a lot of you dealing with that. And one of the ways that I help people get motivated is with what I call your why, right? Your why. And what your why is, and I write about this in my book, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, because in that book, I try to help people with the emotional side of what you need to do to recover, right? So your why is the big reason. How is your life going to be better once you do this for yourself, right? Because it is very hard to stick to something on a daily basis when you don't really see what the payoff's going to be, right? It'll just feel hard in the moment, right? If it's like, okay, This is better for me. I'll eat more vegetables. I won't eat meat, dairy, all these things. And it can feel like a struggle day to day when your reason's not fully clear. So one of the problems that leads to low motivation for people is they're more focused on the short term, but they're not really letting themselves have the big picture of how your life's going to be better. So for example, sometimes it's kind of vague, like, oh, I just want to be healthier or not have pain. Well, what if in that moment you're not feeling too much pain? How are you going to be motivated in that moment to keep going if right in the moment my pain's not so bad? How do I push myself to get through the hard times, like peer pressure or weddings or whatever it is where you normally get triggered? You have to have a reason, a burning need to get this right, because what you're building is so freaking good. You'll do anything to get it. And most people out there in the world have had at least one experience of working hard to get something that mattered to you, right? I know I've had those experiences. I mean, just getting through high school with lupus, I had to have some big dreams ahead, and I did. I wanted to live as much life as I could on a really big level, knowing that it might be a shorter life than other people. But I also had big dreams. I was going to get healthy, or at least get stabilized. We didn't know I could actually heal back then. And I was going to pursue science. I was going to go into genetics. I thought I could find the gene to heal lupus. And then I finally, when I got to med school, when I got into research, realized I'd rather take care of people personally. And maybe I won't cure lupus, but I'll help people live good lives, even with chronic illness. Who knew that all of those led to the path where people actually can be lupus free? But my passion for what I wanted was so powerful. The image was so clear in my mind of the good I wanted to do, that I was willing to get up every day and go to school in pain, right? If you've ever, had a hard job, or maybe gone to grad school or college, and you wanted to get good grades, and your friends were all going out, and you decided you weren't going to go out, or maybe you went out, but you weren't going to drink alcohol because you had it in your head that you had this dream. I want to get this A. I can see myself getting this A and then getting into my grad school, or whatever it is. If you have a big enough dream, if you have something you want enough, most people can say no to the things that'll take them off their track and stay committed to get there, right? And I hope all of you have had that experience of working hard for something. But the reason you work hard to get that dream is because it matters to you. And so what I want you to understand today is that you're always motivated. You might not know this. A lot of people will tell me I'm unmotivated. And I go, that's not true. You're always motivated. It's just that sometimes we're motivated to do something. And sometimes we're motivated not to do something. And if you're not taking action, then you're motivated not to do it. And then the question is why? Now, with the person I'm working with, I'm digging in there so I can help her find the reason. And I know the reason now. She didn't know the reason. I know. She's like, I don't know why I'm not doing this. And I'm like, I know exactly why you're not doing it. And maybe for some of you, this is the reason too. I hope it's not. But for this person, the reason is she doesn't like her life. Bad relationship, very isolated, doesn't leave the house to do much. And so the idea of getting healthy in her mind, unconsciously, until I said it and she went, oh my God, that's the reason. Unconsciously, why would you want to eat healthier, to get healthier, to continue living a life you don't like? Why not speed up the ending and keep doing the things that are bad for you? So for some of you, that's part of the problem, is that your life has become so unhappy that the idea of getting healthy actually goes against what you really want, which is not to be in this life. And the way out is to build a life you want to live. So your why has to be something that you're doing that's going to be so meaningful, it's worth difficulty, it's worth sacrifice, it's worth saying no in the moment to something you know will make you feel high and maybe boost your mood that moment, maybe that alcohol or that cake or whatever it is, to be willing to push through those momentary kind of comforts to get the big win. You have to have a vision that you're running towards that's meaningful enough that you're willing to run full speed, okay? So for this person, what I'm helping her with, she's coming to me, I don't know why I can't eat on plan. And what I'm helping her with is how to fix her relationship with her spouse. Because until she feels happy and safe emotionally, she's not going to fight for her health or her life. And it shocked her because she didn't think that's where we were going to go. But she also said to me, I know you're right. But she never thought of it, right? And that's why, you know, my sessions are 75 minutes. And the reason is so I can do that. The person I just got off the line with, you know, I figured out the reason for his continued symptoms has to do with stuff that happened in his childhood and emotional stress, right? That sometimes you need someone to be able to see the big picture for you. I highly recommend therapy, you know, but for yourself, for all of you out here who are listening in the ethos right now, let's see, there's like 400 right now. If it's you, if you're going, this is me, this is my problem. It doesn't mean you can't do this. It means in order for you to run full speed ahead on your health, you've got to be running towards something you want. And it can't be vague. It's got to be big, right? So I want you to think of it. And people think that they're going to run faster from something. Like, I want to run away from pain. People run out of steam. But when you're running towards something you want, somehow there's more energy to do it. So think about what holds you back. Are you depressed? Do you have unhealthy relationships? Is your life kind of just survival? I wake up, I eat, I nap, I watch TV, I doom scroll, and I go to bed, start again. Who wants to fight for that? Create some dreams for yourself for the thing you want most, right? One of my favorite examples is a guy named Chris who's let us share his story, who did my rapid recovery group with lupus, and he was in so much pain he could barely get off his couch. But his dream, his why, was I want to be able to go through Europe and walk all the walking tours. And right now I can't even manage my own house. And he healed in my 6-week group. He's been lupus free ever since. And I met him in person recently, at a last event I did in California. And his wife hugged me and said, thank you for giving me back my husband. And we both cried. But when he healed, he booked the trip to Europe, and he posted in our Smoothie Shred Facebook group. And he said, I'm walking miles and miles every day up and down hills. Here I am in Venice. Here I am traveling and walking. I have zero pain. I'm enjoying my life. He had a vision of what he wanted, and it was gorgeous. Checking out all the different beautiful sites. And it wasn't to do with food. It was the history and the sites and the tours and the learning and the people. And he did it. He ran full speed ahead and he got it, right? So for you, if you're struggling with this, that's your assignment. If you're not motivated to just eat raw vegetables, have more salad, drink smoothies, drink more water. If you're not motivated to do it, you're motivated not to. Look and see why. What's going on in your life that's motivating you not to fight for it? And then create something tempting enough that it can overcome some of that hindrance, some of that negativity, and make you want to fight for it. And if you're struggling to do it, get some help. Work with a therapist. If you want to see me and see if I can help you figure it out, I'm pretty good at that. Rapid recovery, well, our next group is going to be in August, but we are enrolling for that one. But this is the key. And the cool thing is when you unlock this, when you unlock what you really want for your life and you let yourself dream of it and take action to go towards it, your whole life gets better, not just your health. And that's why there's a gift in illness for the folks that I see, because we don't just fix symptoms. We help people live life on such a greater level. And I want that for you too. So I hope that was helpful for all of you who are watching here now. All right, let's see here. All right. Okay, where should we start today for the questions? Well, since Smoothie Shred has started asking, let me check over here. Let me see. All right, one, Kimberly, sending love to you and your family. I hope your daughter's doing well soon. Let me see. Cece, somebody's review of rapid recovery mentioned avoiding starchy vegetables. Is that true because raw sweet potato is allowed? Yeah, you're right. It's not true. So raw sweet potato is allowed. Most starchy vegetables, though, people do cook. So like a regular potato tastes like dirt raw. Do not eat it. But raw sweet potato is allowed. Good catch, Cece, and you're 100% right. Let me see. All right, Christina wants to know, Dr. G, thank you for all you do. I've been diligently following Goodbye Autoimmune Protocol, and I'm thinking of my next steps. Once you're better, is it best to stop the medicines first or introduce cooked vegetables that you previously tolerated raw? I'm aware of how to properly taper my meds when it's time. Typically, when people do the full protocol and they go into full remission, I recommend you keep the high full protocol while you're doing the taper, because for a lot of diseases, you didn't mention what you were healing from, but for a lot of diseases, as you lower your medications, there's rebound symptoms and inflammation. And if you're on the full Goodbye Autoimmune Protocol, those rebounds will be very minimal and you'll get off the medicines faster. But not everyone. Some people do step down and continue feeling good and then taper off their meds. It's really up to you, but I recommend the first way. Okay. You're welcome, Cece. All right. Danielle wants to know, how do I create boundaries from someone who's sick but doesn't want to get better? Thank you. The way you said it makes me feel like you're judging this person. Yeah? Danielle, because you said someone who's sick but doesn't want to get better. Does this person not want to get better? Like they're telling you, Danielle, I want to die. Or is it that they don't want to listen to you about what they could do to get better by examining their lifestyle and their nutrition, right? So one thing I'd be aware of is a lot of the feelings you're having is coming from the way you're judging this person. It's not that most people who are sick want to get better, unless they are suicidal. And I've spent a lot of my life helping people who are suicidal, so that exists. But for many people, they do want to get better, but they don't want to have to consider other things. And they're like, listen, if my doctor says that nothing else helps and just take medicine, I'm just going to listen to my doctor and that's it. Leave me alone, right? So sometimes people are kind of shut down, and maybe just what I inferred from how you wrote it, maybe that's the case. And if the person feels less judged by you, they might actually be more open to you. So the way I recommend that you talk to people who are not open to changing their lifestyle for their health, and plenty of people aren't, is to, number one, try to offer in a kind way. So you can say to somebody, listen, I know you're really struggling with your health, and I'm just sending you all my love and energy for healing. If you are interested, I actually am aware of a protocol, a doctor who helps people with overcoming illness using things outside of medicine. And she's a real doctor and a scientist and everything, but has found that things like nutrition and other lifestyle factors actually contribute to people's illnesses and recovery. And I figure if you want to do everything it takes to get better, if you're interested, I'll give you some links to look at. If you're not, that's all right, but I just want to put it out there. So offering instead of lecturing, really good for opening people up. And then number two, kind of what your question is asking, if they say no, thank you, just love them anyway. In this life, we all have to make our own choices. And it's very important that we don't judge people for their choices. You know, if this person's choice really hurts you, like this is a person that you love dearly, it's family's friend, you can add a third one, which is to say, instead of just offering, you can say, I'm so scared of losing you. And I wish you'd be willing to listen to me about these other things you can do for your health, if not for yourself, just for me, so that I don't lose you thinking that I didn't do enough, that I didn't help you enough. And a lot of times people are willing to do it to help you feel better, even though they don't think it'll work for them. So that's another way to do it. But ultimately, we have to accept people for what they're going through and the choices that they make, whether it's who they marry, what they eat, whether or not they take medicines. People have to have that free will, and they need love. If this person is sick, judging them doesn't help them, but loving them will. And I hope that helps. I hope that the person is doing better. All right, let's go over, see what's going on Instagram. Let me scroll down here. Bring it over. All right. So Patricia wants to know, how many hours of sleep do you recommend with lupus? I exercise 4 to 5 times a week. I hypernourished, but I feel exhausted. Well, there's no set amount of sleep, but I would say if you're exhausted, more. All right. I recommend people try to get at least 7 hours a night, but I gotta say, even for myself, I get more than that. When I had lupus, I actually required 12 hours of sleep a night for me to function. I mean, people thought that was nuts. My friends did not understand it, but I didn't really explain to them what I was going through. But if I got 12 hours, I could function. If I got less, it was more of a struggle. As a healthy person, and I'm healthy over 19 years now, I still, on my own, will wake up between 8 to 9 hours on my own. Never 7, 8 to 9. So the way you know you're getting enough sleep, one of the biggest ways you know is you wake up feeling rested. If you wake up feeling exhausted, you're not getting enough sleep. The other things you can do to feel better would be like increasing your nourishment. You know, if you're exercising aggressively, then increasing the vegetable intake for your hypernourishment piece can really help you with more energy. The cruciferous vegetables have everything. They've got the protein, they've got all the vitamins and minerals and everything you need to be nourished. We have professional athletes doing our full raw programs in rapid recovery with us. And some of them are doing like 30 to 40 ounces a day. Like hypernourishment starts at 16, right? Now, these people are working out hours and hours every day, but just to say that in order to get the energy you need for intense level of exercise, you can do that too. But most people neglect the sleep. And remember that when you are awake, your mind is working. When you're sleeping, your body is working on cellular repair. So you're always being productive in case that's something that you struggle with. And your body might just need more time for repair. So get the sleep, get the sleep. All right, let's see here. All right, so Janine Guzman, in the case of MS, would disease reversal halt the progression? Or the people who've had sex with, we see where my mind is, had success with halting progression as well as its symptoms? So yes, with MS, we have had people who have completely reversed their symptoms, and we have people who have halted the progression. We have had multiple people who were able to get a repeat MRI after rapid recovery, which is difficult because most health programs will not allow you to get more than one MRI a year, some less than that, less often than that. So, but the people who got the MRIs, all of them had no new lesions, and 3 out of 4 had the most recent lesion gone. And the 4th one, no new lesions, even though every other MRI had progression. So that was pretty cool because lesions disappearing shows actual healing. So at minimum, we're halting the progression, and at maximum, you could get back some of the deficits that you lost. And either way, it's worth it. So, all right, let me see here. All right. Logan says SCL, which is a scleroderma antibody, 70. SCL 70, I'm sorry, is a scleroderma antibody. It's 3.2. It was 5 last year. SED rate is normal. RA, ANA protocol for scleroderma, tight throat, raspy voice, connected, refused Plaquenil, high stress, 2021 lupus, current dormant, would like second baby. Thank you. Okay. Same protocol for any of these autoimmune diseases, so it doesn't change the nutrition. But high stress, you've got to deal with that. You have to realize that high stress actually has a negative impact on your cortisol levels and on your immune system. So that's got to be the key. The food will help you repair damage, but the stress is creating more damage every day. So if you really want, and a second baby is going to add more stress, by the way. So you got to get good at stress management and stress relief in order to be able to handle grow in your family too without it hurting you, right? So work on that stress. Goodbye Autoimmune Protocol targets both. So if you haven't read that book, it's a great place to start. Work with a therapist or work with me, learn ways to bring that stress down. You need the self-care, you need the sleep, you need to work on the thoughts that are making you continue to do the things that are so stressful or think about things in a way that's stressful, right? And then Jamie wants to know, can I add coconut when I'm hypernourishing? Yep, hypernourishing is about what you add. It's not about taking anything out. So if you're just hypernourishing, then that's fine. All right. Okay. Let's see what YouTube is asking here. Oh, goodness. Shanama, you're giving me too much. There's like 20 comments here before I can get to the question. I need you to summarize a little better. I think, let me see if I can get to the summary of what the person's actually going on. Is this person just overweight? Are they unhealthy? All right. So somebody was a fit, healthy runner, swimmer, and gymnast. And now is eating poorly. I'm sorry, I'm trying to summarize. I'm telling you, there's like 20 comments. Love to you, but it's I got to try to get to the issue. She wants to get back her body and her health. What's the best way to start? I'm guessing you're asking, should she watch or read Goodbye Lupus? Well, if she's not sick, I don't know if she'll be moved by Goodbye Lupus. That's my story of healing. But you can start there for sure. Or you can just bring her to my channel to if you think there's things that could be inspiring. Just switching back from where she is to doing a plant-based diet, no oils with hypernourishment, adding exercise. You know what would be good? I have an answer. SmoothieShred.com. So if you go to SmoothieShred.com, my husband built the original website as a public service to help people with shredding fat and getting fit. And so he built a whole website that has recipes, workout videos, all sorts of different things, all these resources there. And that might be a good place for her to start since her big goal is going to be fitness. So I hope that helped. I hope I summarized that correctly. All right. All right. Shaman 111 says, hi, I hope you're well. I have a quick question about anxiety that causes serious fatigue. I'm okay with moderate walks, but serious cleaning, heavy weights, or a run cause stress. What do I do? Well, you are right that the most exhausting thing in the world is stress. And anxiety is included in the stress category. When people are under high stress, they are exhausted all the time, no matter how much they sleep and how well they eat. And it's a very important thing to address. So the key for you is going to be working on the anxiety. I mean, that is, now exercise should help reduce stress and reduce anxiety. So I encourage you to do that, but also you need to address the thoughts and the beliefs that continue to make the anxiety persist. And a therapist would be a really good idea for that. Okay. I do have tips for that in Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, but having someone who can work through things with you is really important. All right. All right, let's see here. Felicia, if I get very sore from weight training or HIIT, does that mean that my body is not healthy enough to do this type of exercise? I will get DOMS for 5 days. I'm taking breaks on the body parts. Well, I am next. She continued, I'm working out and it still happens. Maybe I need to do hypernourishment longer so my cells can handle inflammation. Thank you for your insights. Should salt be split up? Okay. Usually, when you stay sore, it's not that you're healthy, but you still are slow at cellular repair. So one of the things that my husband discovered that's in his book, Miracle Metabolism, is that when he switched to eating plant-based, he went from only being able to work out certain muscle groups like 2 or 3 times a week to being able to work them out every day, because he'd work out and normally he'd be sore for days, but he'd find he'd be better the next day. And that was because his diet was so low in inflammation and his nutrition was so high. He was eating pounds and pounds of raw cruciferous a day in addition to his other foods for training, that he was able to beat his own personal records for strength every time he went in, which was the strongest he'd ever been. And he found that he could build muscle faster and build strength faster. And he was eating less than half the protein that he used to have to eat on a meat-based diet in order to get stronger and build muscle. So we know that our protocol accelerates that cellular repair. So one thing you can do is maybe even try going full protocol or increasing your cruciferous vegetables, maybe add like 10 more ounces at a time, see if you can accelerate that. And then I'd also look at, is there anything else that's creating inflammation in your life that could be slowing you down? And in the meantime, if you're going to be down for 5 days after workout, maybe do lighter types of workout, full body exercises that maybe are less intense while you're building up your endurance on those. All right. Let me see here. Jennifer, hi, Dr. Goldner. When taking thyroid medication, iodine drops for your recommended vitamin B12 and whole food plant-based and iron for low iron. How much time should they be spaced out between these? You can really take these together. Iron doesn't interfere with iodine. And in fact, if you have low iron, it can interfere with thyroid hormone production. So it's good to take both, but they don't interfere with each other's absorption, and the B12 should be fine too in the morning. All right. And lovely me, Jenny, asks, can you have too much chia seeds? I could have 2 cups a day and my body really likes it. Not really, no. I mean, there's no downside if your gut doesn't mind. All right, let's see what's happening in Facebook land. All right, let's see here. Wayne said, I got my PSA test and my urologist said it was practically normal. I hope that means that you're saying that it's back to normal, right? So that is really cool. This is something that we see a lot, actually. We don't talk about it too much, but I've had a good number of gentlemen come to me that have had high PSA just from enlarged prostate, but most of them that have come to me had prostate cancer, and all of them, their PSA went right down the moment they started the plan. There's someone that I've been working with who's was with someone whose whole family had prostate cancer. Whole family, they were dairy farmers. And all the men in the family had prostate cancer, every single one, and his PSA was on the way up. She immediately made him switch to my protocol, and his PSA went right back down to normal. And now he's the only person in his family that doesn't have prostate cancer. So it is pretty amazing. And the link between dairy and prostate cancer has been actually thoroughly researched and published. And yet, why isn't it on the TV news every day, right? I actually had a client who was a reporter and got prostate cancer and was really pissed off when he found that out. But he took a break from reporting for his stress levels. Hopefully he comes out with that at some point. It's a problem. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. There's some more Facebook. Let's see. Oh, we've got some spam. You gotta love the spammers who come on like, here, call this number and this holistic approach and da-da-da. I'm like, hey, make your own page. All right, let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, this guy cured her lupus and her other viruses. She's going to post on everything. You can leave Destiny. All right, Nita. For Hashimoto's folks, do we test iodine before taking iodine drops? No, there's no need to do that. Oh, this is one that I wanted to mention. Lately, there have been people who've been deciding to get iodine levels, so you can test it in your blood and your urine. But when they told their doctor they wanted to test it, they didn't tell them to stop taking the supplement before the test. So if you take an iodine supplement and then get your blood level and your urine test, guess what? It's going to be high. So if you are testing it for any reason, which you don't need to, but for any reason you want to test it, you have to stop the iodine 48 hours before the test to get an actual level. So just let me know. All right. Logan says, scleroderma. I've been experiencing lightheadedness and tight heaviness in my chest for several months. PCB brushed it off and wants to start Plaquenil. I refuse. But is this affecting my heart and lungs now? It may be. I mean, scleroderma absolutely can affect your airways and your breathing. And what you need to consider is doing whatever you need to do to get better. So I have helped people actually get off of medication who have had chronic lung disease for decades with scleroderma. And, one person had been on prednisone for 30 years and was able to get off of it after rapid recovery. So we know it works for this. But are you doing the full protocol? Because one concern I have, and so I don't know you, this is just triggering like a question for anyone else who's dealing with this, is a lot of times people will refuse medicine, but they're not even doing the full protocol. And remember, if you refuse medication and you're not doing nutrition treatment, you're choosing to be sick. And having this in your lungs is serious, right? So if you are lightheaded and feeling your chest is tight and you're short of breath, this is serious. So the good news is medication does not prevent you from getting better on my plan. Most people who come to me are already on medication and they still get well. So if medication can slow down the progress while you work on getting yourself healthy with nutrition, that's okay. Talk to your doctors about the risks, not only of taking it, but what are the risks of not taking it, right? And if you really want to not need medicine, do the full protocol all out until you're well. And then you won't have to have these symptoms or these medications. But be careful not to find yourself doing neither. That's all. So hopefully you are going all out, Logan. All right, let's see here. All right, let me see another one on Facebook, and then we'll go back around. Oh, thank you, Sean. Let's see here. Tammy, yes, she just says, I usually catch these afterwards, but something told me today to watch live. I'm so glad I did. I'll overcome. Yes, you can. Yes, you can overcome. All right. And let's see here. And just be aware that I do not have any assistants that are answering questions for me on YouTube or anywhere else. So if somebody else is answering questions, just know they're doing it because they want to, but they don't work for me and they may or may not give you the right answers. So just be aware of that. Let me see here. All right. Kathleen wants to know, how do you manage doing the smoothies traveling by plane? I don't take smoothies when I travel on a plane. So remember, smoothies are just a convenient way to hypernourish, but you don't have to use smoothies. They're just convenient sometimes, right? Like I've been working at my desk, convenient because I can just take sips of it and work and no problem, right? But on a plane, you can't bring liquids. So what do I do when I'm flying? I have my smoothie for breakfast. And then I take bags of veggies on the plane because you can crunch and munch as much as you want. And guacamole is still considered solid, I think, there. And if you don't want to risk it, every airport I've been through to has had a Mexican restaurant that had guacamole. So you could bring some bags of veggies, maybe a piece of fruit. And then when you get to the airport, buy a container of guac and you just crunch and munch and enjoy your flight. Easy peasy. All right. All right. Let's see here. Oh, there's some stuff going on here. I see like some arguing going on. Now I have to investigate. What happened? What happened? Something's going on YouTube. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. All right. LD wants to know, what do you say about the critics of your protocols? Chef AJ asked Dr. Furman about the half cup of flax, if it was too much, and his response was not positive. I don't really have anything to say about those things because our results are so good that people's critical comments don't mean anything. So understand that, well, what I think is that the only way that you can have a valid opinion on something is through testing, right? So unfortunately, even people who are doing wonderful things in this world are not always testing things before they comment on them, right? Dr. Furman and I are friendly. Like, I see him all the time. He's a great guy. We do things differently. We agree on some things. He's big into making people eat big raw salads. Yay, right? And he actually does think that fat phobia is killing people. He said that to me. He's like, thank God you're not fat phobic. That's what he said the first time he met me, right? So we agree on a lot and we disagree on some things. But if there's just kind of a comment the first question you should always just ask is, well, what experience have you had that proves that to be true? So for example, the follow-up question that maybe AJ could have asked or someone else could have asked would be, have you ever seen someone have all that flaxseed and something bad happened? That's the question. And I already know the answer would be no. Why? Because I put thousands of people on this protocol and their health gets dramatically better. The only time people have a problem with flax would be, one, if they happen to be allergic, and it's rare, but it happens, or two, in which case chia, or two, digestive issues, in which case we might have to mix it up, maybe use the flax oil instead, etc. But that's just an operational thing. But in terms of health, the more the better. And we know it because we literally put people on these programs every day and our experience is really high. So that's also why you might notice that sometimes people will ask me questions and I'll say, I don't know, I've never tested it, or I don't know, I haven't helped someone with that condition. Why? Because I personally believe, and this is just me, and I think it also comes from me having been a patient first, I think the most ethical thing I can ever do is only tell you information based off of my experience with real people and what happened, rather than what I think. Because no matter how smart someone is, when they're thinking, they're going to be wrong some of the time. And if you're a human like most of us, a lot of the time, what we think isn't necessarily true. And when it comes to health and even nutrition and natural healing, we still don't know everything about how food makes people sick and makes them well. We know a lot, and a lot more than we knew even a decade ago, but we don't know everything. And so even if you've had positive results, you don't always know all the reasons why. And that's why I think the most ethical thing you can say is either, I don't know, I've never tested it, or it seems like too much to me, but I haven't tested it, right? When I first wrote Goodbye Lupus, I actually reached out to Dr. Furman and told him about what I was doing, you know, because I'd heard his name and that he's helping people. And I was like, I'm really excited. I'm going to be teaching, you know, on the same stage as you and all that. And he said to me, be careful, because lupus can take over a year to get better in the people who can get better and some can't. I see people get better usually in a matter of weeks, maybe a month or two. It's never taken me that long. Maybe it's all those flax seeds. So I hope that's the way you understand. It doesn't bother me. People can have their own opinions. I just prefer opinions that are valid opinions based off experience. Then I'll consider things. If someone had a real experience of something going wrong, I'm interested. But if they just have an idea in their head, I'm not interested. So that's my explanation. And I hope that helps all of you too, because man, there are a lot of people on this planet and they all have opinions about many different things, but very few have valid ones. And that's important. So, okay, let me see here. Let me see. Let's come back up this way. Let's see if Smoothie Shred added any more. All right. Mary says, I'm 57, postmenopausal. I just started the Goodbye Autoimmune protocol. I'm fairly sedentary. How much or what type of exercise do you suggest, and how much fat is optimal for healing and weight loss? I think you mean fat intake, right? Smoothie Shred protocol is great for you, Mary. So make sure that you use the guides and the SmoothieShred.com website for what to do for your fat loss. You're going to do great. With the exercise, if you are sedentary, start with walking. Now, a lot of you who've been listening to me have heard me criticize walking because it's not it's not sufficient exercise once it becomes easy. But if you are sedentary, meaning you're mostly sitting around and you start walking an hour a day, and then you do our Smoothie Shred protocol, you're going to start seeing fat come off. And then what you'll see happen is it'll hit a plateau where your body has caught up that this is how big Mary is with a healthy, hypernourishing diet and walking for an hour. This is the new normal. When you hit the plateau, then you start adding more. So you could double your steps, right? And, double the length of the walk, double the speed. You could add little intervals of running to break through that. Or what I prefer is you can add strength training. So for me, I'd rather not run off the fat. I'd rather lift it off. And so going and getting interval training. I love boot camps. They have free boot camps out there for people who are older and on Medicare, at least in the US. They call it Silver Sneakers. And you could go to free boot camps. I just lost my mom as my partner in my boot camp because she found that there was a boot camp that was free for her and I have to pay for mine. Silver Sneakers. And she goes with her neighbors and it's dancing with a chair, but it's not like the seductive you think it's with a chair. It's like so they can sit down. But it starts at the level that they're at. So boot camps are great because of the camaraderie. I actually had to, I hadn't been to boot camp for a few weeks. I had a lot of stuff going on. I had a shoulder injury and I've been rehabbing that. And then I had all these news segments and other stuff. So I'd only been like a couple times in the past few weeks, which is not normal for me. I'm usually going like 3-4 days a week. And when I went back today, they all like came up to me and like, we missed you. Where have you been? We're so glad you're here. And it touched me. I was like, thank you guys. That it feels so good to kind of make this community. And it's more inspiring to get up and go every day. And so I'm going back again tomorrow. Like I'm back. I was always planning to come back. But boy, does it feel good to be missed and to have people who are like, yay, hey, where have you been? So I really like boot camps as a social form, and also they tend to keep you moving. You've got a trainer watching you and you tend to burn off the fat without even really noticing it because you're having this experience with all these people. So I do that. But you can have as much fats as you want as long as it's coming from things like avocados and flax and chia. That won't interfere with your weight loss. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, so Carlo wants to know, I've been dealing with undiagnosed autoimmune sickness for the last 2 months. My doctor's trying to get me in to see a rheumatologist. My symptoms remind me of rheumatoid arthritis or lupus. I'm on your raw diet protocol. I just recently bought your cookbook, which I love. Yay! Are black olives okay? I was delighted to see pimento olives in your book. Yeah, olives are okay. They're not officially part of the protocol, but people usually get away with throwing a few olives on top. Just don't eat like a bowl of olives, all right? But if you want to throw some olives on top of your salad, you can usually get away with that just fine. Rachel wants to know if iron is high with recent blood work, should any changes be made to the protocol? Not necessarily to the protocol, but I'd be curious why. I'd also want to make sure it's actually high. A lot of times people are alarmed when something gets flagged on their lab, but it's actually not bad. It's just that lab has a smaller range of normal and it's like really close. So if it's like right on the range or close to it and your doctor said it's fine, don't worry about it. If it actually is high, then you should be seeing your doctor to figure out what's going on because you won't get high iron from your diet. Sometimes people will get high iron because they're taking an iron supplement and they don't need it anymore. So I have seen someone who had low iron. He took an iron supplement and he did my protocol. And then his iron came back high and he had to stop the iron supplement and then it stayed normal after that. So that would, if you're not on a supplement and it actually is high, then you should find out from your doctor. Okay, let's see here. Let me see here. All right. And Mary, thank you. Said I'm new here and I appreciate you. You're a beautiful, bright light. I appreciate that. By the way, I've been congested for 3 months and in a few days, it's already better. Yay. Yay for healing, Mary. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's go back over here to Instagram. All right. Rini CB says, I have lupus markers, but no diagnosis. Can you keep it from going to full-on lupus? Yeah, go all out. Who needs the markers? Get yourself healthy. Go full on out. If you're on Instagram, when this video is over, there's a link in my profile. Instagram doesn't let you post links into things, but you click the link in my profile. There's a link right under my name and information, and it has all the resources there that you can reach. Okay. All right, let's see here. Oh my gosh. So Mission Hearts wrote, let me pull it over so I can read it this way and not strain my neck. All right, let's see. So Mission Hearts just wrote, I have been on the protocol for 1 week and 2 days. I have Hashimoto's, and today is the first day in years I did not need Advil for my arthritis. So blessed. Yay! So that's amazing. That's amazing. Look at that. 1 week and 2 days. I'd be sad for anything that takes like a year before you notice a difference. That is so great, Mission Hearts. I love it. Shazisa says, hi, Dr. Brooke. I have a mild coarse liver. Is this reversible? Potentially. We've had amazing results for liver disease. And there was this weird thing that happened in my Smoothie Shred group. You have to realize Smoothie Shred has 74,000 people in it. And only a small number have actually worked with us. But a lot of people are fans, and we love them because they're all in there supporting each other every day. Smoothie Shred is our favorite. We love folks in there. And please join if you're on Facebook. But sometimes people will bring up an issue and then start like a freak out that's unnecessary. And one of them was somebody had posted that their liver enzymes were up and they thought it was because of cruciferous vegetables. And to this day, anyone who finds that is like, oh my God, did this happen? And my answer is no, actually, no. And I just got a message today from someone who I've been working with. They have a teenage daughter whose liver enzymes have been extremely elevated, and the doctors have not been able to help. And it was over 2,000. And we've been working together, and I gave her a nutrition plan, high cruciferous. And she texted me this morning, liver enzymes are all in the normal range. So we've also had people reverse autoimmune hepatitis, fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, all of them doing our full Goodbye Lupus protocol. So if you want to optimize liver function, liver health, it's a great way to go. Let me see here. Okay. Thank you, Sarah Boss. Let me see. Maddie Delsky, is a recommendation still a half a cup of flax or chia if the goal is to lose weight? Would any less be unhelpful in fulfilling the process to burn as much fat as possible? Yep, my husband actually tested this when he had, so he had the largest boot camps in Orange County, California back in the day. His Express Results boot camps. And he used to test people on nutrition because he actually developed, my husband started out as a computer scientist before he went to get his master's in exercise science. And so he patented technology so that he could have the technology lead his boot camps and he could then focus on individual people. And this was back before AI was doing all this stuff. Like he had a patent and everything. And what that also allowed him to do was personalize things like nutrition. So that, and knowing that everyone was doing exactly the same exercise because his technology was leading the exercise. It was pretty awesome. Husband is a freaking brilliant guy. So anyway, he tested different types of nutrition to try to figure out how to optimize things like fat loss. Most of the people who came to boot camp were looking to lose fat. And what he found that when he was testing omega-3s is that there was no upper limit when it came to results for omega-3s, meaning he was putting people on thousands of calories of omega-3s, mostly coming from the oil version, and fat loss was faster and faster and faster the higher the intake. The reason people didn't go any higher was, I'm going to throw up if you make me have any more of this oil or any more fat. Like, I just can't do it. But that was really eye-opening, that the metabolism just kept getting faster and faster, and the results were better and better when they applied the fat loss exercise. I don't want anyone who's skinny to freak out, like, oh my God, I've had too much omega-3. No, it's not the omega-3 that makes you lose weight. It makes your metabolism faster so that when you do things like exercise, the results are more and more profound. So yeah, no worry there. A lot of people, when they're trying to lose weight, try to eat less of the fats because they've heard from other folks that if you eat fat, then you get fat. And that's just not true. It depends on what kind. And omega-3s do not form body fat. They actually help you burn it when you're doing the right exercise. All right, let's see here. All right. And Danny's Pearl, no, hemp seeds are not a part of my rapid recovery groups or programs. Those are mainly omega-6. All right, let's go back to YouTube. We got a little time here. Good questions, everybody. Good questions. Let's see here. You guys are so sweet. You noticed that I had a replay. I'm getting all these nice welcome backs. Thank you. Thank you. I do my best to be here every week, but if not, I try to give you something good to watch. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's see here. I see people getting advice from other people. Like I said, I don't have an assistant. That's not my assistant. Let me see. I'm trying to find different questions at different topics we haven't already hit today. All right. We already talked about that. All right. The Ijak said, husband and I are on day 10 hypernourishment. We're loving it. The first 7 days I used flax seeds. I had some nice sweats. I switched to chia, which helps. Is this normal? Not typically, but I don't know what time of life you're in. But one of the great things about phytoestrogens that are in things like flax is it potentiates or it lowers how much exposure we get to estrogen, which is good for us. That's why it can help with things like preventing breast cancer. But if you are, let's say, perimenopausal or menopausal, then you might not like it as much and you might prefer having less flax and more chia, and that's perfectly fine. I have seen that on rare occasions. Let me see. Okay. Jacob says, I've got prostate cancer and I'm on ADT. So definitely get on my full protocol, Jacob, and let's get you healthy as quickly as possible. Nicole, always here. Thank you for saving my life. Always welcome, Nicole. I love seeing you celebrate every week. All right, let's see. Jennifer, hi, Dr. G. I look forward to my smoothie every morning. I don't feel right without it, right? My question is, have any of your clients had EOE? I'm hoping to reverse mine. Yes. You just have to be careful about kind of determining what you might be reacting to in terms of allergy. But yes, I have seen people improve with that. All right, let me see here. Thank you, Healthy Done My Way. I'm having a great day. Let me see. You see, I already found someone who answered a question, but in the opposite way that I just answered it. So just be aware that if you're getting answers from other people, they may be right or they may be wrong. I'm sure they mean well. Okay, let me see. All right. Jeanette wants to know, thank you for all you do. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. All right, question. Here we go. What is the significance of the abnormal thyroid peroxidase antibodies 73 when normal 0 to 60, normal TSH, free T4 and T3? I actually wouldn't worry about it. If you don't have any signs or symptoms of low thyroid, even though the lab will flag things that are anything above 60, in terms of clinical significance causing symptoms, what the studies have shown is that, first of all, under 100 or 100 or less is really not associated with an uptake in thyroid issues. And for most folks, 300 or less are still considered not too significant, especially if they don't have symptoms. So I wouldn't fret about that. But don't do anything to stimulate it, right? Eat a hypernourishing plant-based diet, keep yourself healthy, and it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Let me see. All right. And ID says, hello, will eating bananas daily lead to diabetes? I'm asking because my wife's doctor said she's pre-diabetic. She's not one to eat sweets or sugary drinks. He told her that's the cause. 100% no. I have banana every day in my smoothie, and my A1C is like 5.2. No. So the cause of diabetes is actually fats. That has been proven now through research and through what I've seen in my clinical practice. I have people who were diabetic and no longer diabetic, even without losing the weight. I gave an example of that in the beginning, but we changed the dieting. So there is a video. If you search my YouTube, you're on YouTube, search my YouTube for diabetes, and you'll see some videos that explain how you actually get diabetes. It's not the sugar, it's the fat. It's just that the fat clogs the insulin receptor, and that means insulin can't enter the cell and tell the cell to open up and suck the sugar out of the bloodstream. and then the sugar stays in the bloodstream. But it's not the sugar's fault, all right? The problem is that the cells are dysfunctional in responding to the signal of insulin because of the gummed up receptors from things like saturated fats. So my protocol works very well and quickly. And again, it has to be the unhealthy fats cause it. Folks on my plan are on high omega-3s. And like the person I mentioned in the beginning, even in a week, her blood sugars were normal, right? So that was pretty fast. And she's getting all of her omega-3s in too. So when people tell you no fat, that's actually not fully accurate as well. All right, let me see. Okay, it's to the time and I have an appointment, but I just want to be fair and get Facebook too. You're welcome, Tracy. Oh, Kathy says, I make a delicious chia pudding, half cup of chia, 2 cups almond milk, and stevia. Is that okay? No stevia. Go on my YouTube and search for the video I did on it. I think if you look at stevia, you'll find it, but I did a video reviewing the research that has shown that sugar substitutes, including stevia, actually make people sicker. So just take that out and blend in a banana, or if you don't like banana, put some berries in there. But we got to get off the artificial sugars, folks. So hopefully that helps as well. Okay, let's see here. All right. Well, I think I got people from all the different areas. Really, really great questions. Happy to be here and help you. And I hope that the coaching game in the beginning is starting to open up some of your minds on what else you need to do besides eat more veggies and drink more water to get the health you want. And maybe if that works, then getting sick actually was the most important thing that ever happened to you because it unlocked your ability to actually live the life you want. I hope all of you do it, and I'll see you next week. It's good to see all of you. Have a great rest of your week.